is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. We're back to the two-man group this week. It is, as always, myself, Junkyard James, with the wonderful co-host who we were missing last week, but I hope you had a good anniversary last week, my friend, Kody Marinara. K-Dog, how's it going?
It's going great. It got saucy last week, so we stayed true to the theme of the program. So we got saucy. We stayed saucy. So it was a nice week last week. Nice weekend, and missed y'all, but we're back and better than ever. And some things happened this week, huh? How the hell are you doing?
It's been a very, very busy week in the realm of professional wrestling, and it's only going to get busier as we go into the weekend. AEW Grand Slam Australia. This weekend we got WWE NXT. What's the show of
Vengeance Day?
Vengeance Day. That it is. And Washington, D.C., SmackDown tomorrow. So we got a busy week. Then one of the greatest spectacles of the year, the Daytona 500, is this Sunday for y'all NASCAR fans. But let's get going with this show. We got a busy show for y'all this week. But first, I want to take some time and thank our affiliate partners. We'll start off this week with W Energy. Go to w.gg, use the code Beyond the Yard, get 10% off of your order, and help support the podcast. W Energy, for those who don't know, is a kind of a new energy company, target market for those in the gaming sphere. They use like energy powder, and kind of like the protein powder mix, but for energy drinks. I think they discontinued their pre-mixed cans, but the energy mix is there. Go to w.gg and use the code Beyond the Yard for 10% off of your order there. We got StubHub. The link is in the description box for all of your sporting event needs. Like I said, NASCAR is back. NFL is gone, but baseball starting back up here soon. And basketball and wrestling and all of that. You can get all of those tickets on StubHub. The link in this is in the description. Help support the podcast that way. And I brought it back last week, but I feel like you aren't here, so I gotta reintroduce it. The WWE shop, again, link is in the description. Grab that WWE merch. Let us know, though, in the comment section, do we need to create a new version of this video that I'm right about to show you? Take a look at it. Junkyard. As we head to WrestleMania season, that's a reason to fill your shopping carts with all the merch you be needing. Maybe you screaming, yeah, for the Man LA Night. Or maybe your fingers up repping Tribal Chief all night. Or maybe you finished the story, maybe gory, rocking Cody Rhodes t-shirts in your Snapchat story. Get your favorite wrestlers merch all up on the internet. All the t-shirts, championship titles at your fingertips. All you have to do is hit the link in the description. I can't forget to mention CM Punk can't be missing. Or else he may throw hands and make me feel for my life. Buy your shirt up in the shop and wear it proudly all the time. Thanks to WWE Shop for partnering with your boys. Click the link right now and fill your carts with even more. Yeah. So yes, click that link in the description for the WWE shop. Look, nothing beats the first time we showed that video last year leading up to WrestleMania, and the reaction we got from K-Dog over here was quite hilarious. Let us know, should we use this one, continue to use this one, maybe updated for this year? Let us know in the comment section below, but go grab that merch for the WWE shop and snag that there. Link is in the description box below. As always, we would love for y'all to comment and chat with us in the chat room. With this live stream, we do share and communicate with some of the chats that get in that area and do display and communicate and have a conversation. We want this to be a community podcast where we have a conversation as well as talk about some of the current events in pro wrestling. And with that being said, join the Discord. Go to junkyardmediagroup.com. All of the social media links will be on the home page there, but that's where you get all of those links. I think that's all of the pre-discussion stuff. Let's jump in. We're going to start with last week I kind of introduced a hot take of the week, and I think this week we'll continue that. And I put something in our this morning, I don't want to say a quote, but a statement that I made, and I gave it to you ahead of time so you had time to maybe think about it if possible. But I want to have a discussion because this is kind of how I feel about pro wrestling, and let's have a discussion on it. This is this week's hot take. AEW is best leading up to Revolution, going through the summer, and ending at All Out. The WWE is best leading up to the Royal Rumble through WrestleMania. Now, my question is, do you agree or disagree with this statement, and why?
Yeah, I think I would just I would agree with that. I think we usually get the best overall stories from AEW, from Revolution, leading up to Revolution, through Double or Nothing, into the early stretches of summer, the Owen Hart Cup, and then into the Forbidden Door, coming out of Forbidden Door, and then leading through All In and All Out. I would agree with that. I just think that overall we just get a few months stretch there where AEW seems to be at their best when it comes to that. Now, I will say that I could also argue slightly that at the very end of the year, whenever we get World's End, even though the card isn't always perfect, the Continental Classic is a phenomenal way to end the year for AEW, and I think it's going to be a staple for them for years to come. Hopefully they infiltrate the women's side of the Continental Classic this year, but overall, yes, I would definitely agree with that. And I'll be 100% honest with you. When the calendar turns January, it's Rumble season and it's WrestleMania season. No matter how much I'm out of tune with WWE, I always look forward to the Rumble. I always look forward to kind of, the mystique of who's going to win it. Even though the women's side was predictable, you still never know until it actually happens. And then leading into the storylines that lead into WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber in between. The first 3 to 3.5 months of WWE, to me, very compelling, and I actually want to watch it to see what will happen at WrestleMania. So yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. I think that's a strong statement for sure. In years past, it used to be, we would get to summer WrestleMania, and then it's like a drag from April through July until we got to SummerSlam. WWE, I think, is trying to keep that momentum going, but I think it's almost as if AEW kind of capitalizes on the back end of WrestleMania to kind of carry pro wrestling through the summer stretches, and WWE kind of picks it back up between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, and then the companies kind of, I wouldn't say falter, but they just kind of have a little bit of a lull to end the year, and then we kind of ramp it back up. in January. So it's a very interesting way to compare and contrast the two. But yes, long answer short. Yes, I do agree with that.
And you're 100% right. I think AEW. So when AEW started back in 2019, they started with, was it the big 2 or 3 pay-per-views, All In, no, All Out, Double or Nothing, and that might have been the only 2, actually, to be honest with you. They had a couple other like TV pay-per-views like Fyter Fest and all of that, that were there when they first originally started. And so everyone kind of said, like, at the beginning, All Out was like the WrestleMania of WWE. Now that has turned into All In, with them deciding to bring that back from the success the original All In had. But I think Revolution might be one of their most consistently great pay-per-views that they've had since its inception. Revolution has always been one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. And I don't count like the Forbidden Doors and things like that, where there's really not a whole lot of storyline behind it. Like Forbidden Doors is my favorite pay-per-view, but it's because we get matches that are kind of outside of the storyline, and it's a bunch of dream matches. But Revolution is probably one of my favorite year-to-year AEW exclusive pay-per-views. And then we get through the summer months, and I don't know what it is, but Tony Khan seems to the sunshine and good vibes just flow through his creative genius in the summer, and then he just kind of fumbles after All In and All Out. The back half of the year, we have a couple pay-per-views where I don't want to say they're less important, but they're just not presented as big as Revolution or Double or Nothing. Things like Wrestle Dream and Full Gear and Worlds End. They're kind of wrapping up the year storylines with those last couple pay-per-views. So it's nothing big, nothing major for the most part. Whereas at the front part of the year, we're going to get some of the basis for the year-long feuds that they're going to have. And then kind of like you, I don't really keep up with WWE, but when Royal Rumble hits and it's like, all right, let's see what happens. I give WWE the first couple months of the calendar year to prove me wrong that they actually got some stuff figured out. This year was a good start with the Netflix deal, and while I'm not a big fan of the continued storylines with, like the Judgment Day and the Bloodline, and I'd like to see some differing people at the front of the pack. WWE does a good job making the Royal Rumble always important and making the time between the Rumble and WrestleMania seem important. The problem, at least from my perspective, is after WrestleMania, they don't really do anything for me personally to capture my attention for the other 9 months out of the year. So, there we go. We'll get that hot take out of the way. The rest of the show, we're going to talk about Ricky Starks. He made his debut in NXT this Tuesday, and then we'll end the show. And I don't have the graphics like we normally do with the predictions. I totally forgot about it when I got home today to set that up. But we're going to start our AEW prediction series this year with Grand Slam. We'll do that at the end of the show. And then if there's time at the end, we maybe take a few comments from the comment section. But let's talk about Ricky Starks, because he shows up in NXT. And I'm going to give you the hot mic to start this segment, because I got my own opinions on Ricky Starks, but I'll let you begin. What are your thoughts on Ricky Starks? For right now, he's Ricky Starks. The rumor is he's going to have a name change in WWE. But what is your initial thought of Ricky Starks in NXT?
It's interesting. I think some of us expected that. I mean, I expected him to turn up in WWE in some capacity. I think NXT is a better opportunity for him to get enamored with that crowd, who is more of a diehard crowd than Raw and SmackDown. I would say that majority of the NXT crowd watch AEW in some capacity, so they knew him. Obviously, they chanted his name when he debuted, so they knew of him. They knew who he was, and it was an interesting way of showing up unannounced. No music, I believe, and he just kind of showed up in the crowd, and they recognized him and chanted his name and things like that. A little bit bulkier. Looks like he put on a little bit of muscle, which is nice to see. You take away the muscle aspect of it, I thought he kind of looked like most people in the crowd. Hold on, take over for just 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with my part on Ricky Starks. This was inevitable. I'm not shocked. I'm not flabbergasted. This wasn't a rip at the heartstrings. You know that I am an AEW faithful. I love AEW. I think AEW is the best product for fans that enjoy pro wrestling and a sports feel to pro wrestling, and not necessarily the soap opera aspect. And so AEW provides what I'm looking for in wrestling. And Ricky Starks does not fit that vibe. Ricky Starks fits completely in the NXT/WWE system. The only thing I remember Ricky Starks for, really his run in AEW, is his persona always came off to me that he was a Wish.com version of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And then the biggest moment I can remember Ricky Starks having in his AEW career is when Adam Copeland just totally abused him in a promo battle. And so this doesn't shock me. I don't think Ricky Starks is that great of an in-ring performer. And so I think he has the look and the appeal that will make him be really successful in the WWE system. And so I'm not shocked. I'm not flabbergasted. I think some people expect me to have some, big conspiracy about WWE's tampering. Like, no, I'm not shocked. But let's just be honest with the facts of the case. Ricky Starks, this deal just didn't come about on a whim in 24 hours. This deal has been months in the making. Ricky Starks has had opportunity after opportunity and creative processes thrown his way that he's rejected. I think this has been a year plus in the making. I think this has been one of those things where Ricky Starks knew he wasn't going to get over in AEW, that Tony Khan was going to bring the guys that can actually compete in the ring and do the stuff that the AEW is good for, is known for, the people like Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, and that MJF will be at the top of the card. And so you can't have two arrogant pricks be top heels, and MJF is just better at being that character than Ricky Starks ever was. They gave Ricky Starks opportunity after opportunity to try and create himself in a different manner. They gave him a big feud for the FTW championship with Hook, and it just seemed that everything that he did in AEW, he was mediocre at, and he kind of got, at least in my opinion, lost in the system of AEW, where I think he'll be more successful in the system of NXT. He'll be more successful in the WWE landscape, where he can have promos scripted for him, and all he has to do is be a performer. He doesn't have to be he doesn't have to get himself over because WWE will get him over for him. And so I think this is a good move for his career. And I don't think AEW necessarily loses anything because he was just another guy in the AEW system that they're going to replace. Rumors are Jeff Cobb is going to sign with AEW, and not to say that he plays the Ricky Starks character, but Jeff Cobb's can take Ricky Starks' time that Ricky Starks could have had, and AEW did all that they could to try and get Ricky Starks over, and there was a subset of AEW fans that really did love Ricky Starks, and he won some fans over, but in the grand scheme of things, it just wasn't going to work in AEW. And I know you had to leave for a moment, so I'll give you the mic back again, and you can finish your thought.
There we go. Yeah, I think that I didn't hear the beginning of kind of what you said, but and if I repeated kind of some of the things you said, I apologize. I think that Ricky Starks, when he first came out to the AEW crowd, obviously during the pandemic and the whole Kody thing, presented himself really well. Kody did a good job of getting him over as well, but he had a great debut and quickly became a mainstay on TV. It felt like there was a bunch of stopping and starting with him, and I don't know who to blame any of that for. I don't want to solely blame Tony Khan. I don't want to solely blame Ricky Starks because I don't think we'll ever really know.
Yeah, if I could interrupt you real quick. I mean, Ricky Starks was going to be a mainstay on Collision until CM Punk had his outing with the company. Like, they were going to put CM Punk and Ricky Starks in a feud, and then CM Punk had his little bitch fit, and now we were there in Charlotte when he beat the shit out of Steamboat, correct?
I believe he did that, did he?
Yeah, I believe so. I think so. So,
but
I mean,
if memory serves me correct, we were there for the 4th, 5th, 6th Collision in Greenville, South Carolina, and I believe the main event was Punk versus Starks for the quote real World Championship. And so, I mean, I feel like they tried to, if he had any sort of suggestions, I don't want to say demands, but I feel like if he did, that Tony Khan tried. I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't know if that Copeland promo where, it was just almost like, oh man, this is bad. You're not good. I don't know if that was solely working. I'm sure it was, but I feel that really kind of diminished his overall persona and character. And yeah, in some ways you could see a little bit of Rock in Ricky Starks. And I don't think he's a sole copy of The Rock. I think that you do see some of the mannerisms and the talking that you can see that with him. But I think if you give him a longer promo, he's not very good with it. If you give him a 3 to 5 minute promo or even a 5-6 minute battle with someone, you can do really well. But if you're just giving him the shtick and he has to go out there and deliver a 5, 6, 7 minute promo solo, I just feel he just loses a little bit of steam when it comes to that. Very good in-ring talent. I've always liked Ricky in the ring. I think he's a really good talent. I feel that him getting a little bit bulkier, if that's truly what he does look like, then that only helps him out because, yeah, he's not the biggest dude, tallest-wise in the room, so you need to kind of make up for that by maybe putting on some muscle and looking a little bit better presentation-wise on TV. So we'll see kind of how it goes. But obviously people knew who he was, so that means that they pay attention to AEW in some capacity, more so the fans and obviously the NXT brass. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, obviously they know of AEW, they watch it, they know who he was. But
until they scout their new hires.
Yeah, possibly. But in a way, this kind of brings you a little bit back to the Monday Night Wars era where people flip-flop all the time. I fully expect to see Miro on WWE TV soon. I'm not sure when they'll probably bring back Aleister Black, but I'm quite certain they'll probably bring him back too. And this just kind of happens with wrestling. I think honestly, not to get too much off of a sidetrack here, but I think AEW will miss Malachi Black. I think they will miss Ricky Starks in some capacity. They do miss Cody Rhodes. I don't think Jade Cargill's too much of a miss yet. Same with Lexis King, Brian Pillman Jr., Sean Spears, Ethan Page. Though Ethan's starting, we had a great, obviously he came out and it was great. So that was kind of a shot. But I think WWE kind of misses the Hurt Syndicate. I think that what they're doing in AEW showed the potential that they could do. I don't know if Triple H was the sole reason for that mishap with the booking. I don't know. I'm just saying. And I'm not saying that every WWE talent that goes to AEW, WWE brass misses them. But it's just the ebbs and flows of the wrestling business where it's a great thing that they have opportunities to go elsewhere. And, we'll see what happens with Ricky and like I said, Miro, maybe Aleister Black. We'll see what happens. But it is nice to know that, hey, if you don't like it one place, you don't like this company, what it's doing, you can go somewhere else and try it over here, see if it works. So we'll see what happens with Ricky and hope he does well. And that's all you can say.
Absolutely. We got in the comments, I knew this guy was going to start putting some stuff. I mentioned how the promo with Copeland and Ricky, he commented on that and said, you mean when old grandpa bullied Ricky out of AEW? It wasn't, he bullied him because Ricky Starks just could not compete with that promo battle. And so I think this is what I was saying. In the WWE system, he won't have to out promo because the promos will all be scripted. Remember your lines and you'll be fine. And I'm sure some WWE promos have some nuance of, hey, if the crowd reacts a certain way, feed into the crowd a little bit. But for the most part, the majority of the promos are going to be scripted in a manner that's different than AEW. Ricky Starks cannot promo. Like, he's not good at improvising a promo. So, Copeland bullied him, but I don't think he was the sole reason why he was bullied out of AEW. Comments again and says MJF is washed. He's not even good at his own gimmick. Did you watch last night? We replace Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page, which was last year's my feud of the year last year. And now we're going to get MJF and Hangman Page, which is, I'm going to go ahead and put the hot take out there. It will be the feud of the year this year. MJF and Hangman Page, if we get 3 matches out of that feud, that will be the feud of the year. And it's starting off on a good note. And then his idea for Ricky Starks is immediately put him in the North American Championship picture. And who knows, a good catchphrase and chant, and he could be like Jey Uso. I guess so. Ethan Page got a world NXT world title shot. So just relegating him to the North American Championship when Ethan Page got a world title shot, to me at least shows that they're a little bit hesitant to put a lot of faith in Ricky Starks, but they'll throw some money at Ricky Starks to make sure that he's in their camp. Ricky Starks is like 34 years old. He's not going to be, around for a good period of time to build a brand around. So to me, he gets a North American Championship run and then drops the belt, and he's just going to be a Sean Spears type guy where you're going to put the new talent over, especially with how much talent WWE develops or signs out of college and does with the NIL stuff and the WWE ID, like he's just going to kind of be the gatekeeper to test and see how this newer development talent can handle being on TV. That's just my honest opinion of Ricky Starks. Is he's not going to be anything special, but he'll be better in the NXT system than he was in the AEW system. But that being said, let's talk about AEW Grand Slam. We're going to make some predictions. They've built this special version of Collision, essentially is what it is. They've built this, at least match card wise, to be almost a pay-per-view. For all the bitching and moaning that fans on both sides of the aisle has had on this card, on this show, it's starting too late. It's not in a big arena. They had to change arenas. They weren't selling out. Grand Slam Australia is AEW's third largest gate to date in the history of AEW. And there's still a couple nights left to sell more tickets. I think the only two shows that beat it were the two All-Ins in Wembley Stadium.
Either that or the first Wembley Stadium in Revolution 2024.
Right.
I think.
You might be right on that one because they filled up Greensboro Coliseum. So I'm not sure what. I know they had $1 million gate, so that might be number two. Or more than $1 million gate for Greensboro. But they're giving the fans a really good card for the show. And it's actually kind of two shows in one. I don't know if you noticed this, but late last night, Tony Khan put on 4 matches, bringing back the Global Wars ROH show, which used to be an ROH New Japan Pro Wrestling show. It's now AEW ROH co-branded show. We'll pop up this card here. Here's 3 of them, 3 of the matches. He added a 4th one too. I don't know if you have that picture or not, but we got, let me move this down a little bit. Lee Moriarty and Robbie Eagles for the ROH Pure Championship. This is the two matches here. And then Big Bill, Chris Jericho, Brian Keith of the Learning Tree against Bandito and the Outrunners. We have Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara versus MXM Collection for the ROH Tag Team Champions. And then Athena versus Alex Windsor, which I think might be signing with ROH or AEW here shortly for the ROH Women's World Championship. This I don't know when this is going to be shown. They didn't specify that it's going to be shown tomorrow night. I don't think it'll be. It'll probably be shown as a special ROH edition on and so we won't count these towards our predictions, but let's just for fun, let's talk about these matches real quick. Global Wars. Let's talk about the women's match, Athena Alex Windsor. For those who don't know, Alex Windsor, I believe, is Will Ospreay's girlfriend. I think Athena wins, but dang, I think Alex Windsor's from Australia. If I can be correct, correct me if I'm wrong, but it'd be a fun match to watch. Maybe this is just part of the show that the Australian crowd gets for their troubles of moving venues and stuff, that they get these, and I don't know if they'll televise them or not. I'll say Athena probably will win this match, continue her domination of the ROH women's division. You have any thoughts on that women's match?
So Alex Windsor is actually English. She's not from Australia. I think it'll be a very good match. I do think that Athena. First of all, are we counting these towards the predictions or just kind of separate?
They're just kind of separate. They're not
Okay.
part of the main show, I don't think.
Yeah, I think Athena will win. I think it'll be a good match, though, for sure. I would imagine that this would be a special, unless they're going to put it as a live. I doubt it. I don't see why they would do that, especially if they're going to do it before Grand Slam Australia. They probably will tape these for a special edition of ROH TV and kind of put it in place, unless they. I don't know why they would tape it and then just air it on pay-per-view later on. It's kind of odd for sure, but it's going to be a great card for the crowd in Brisbane to see the ROH Global Wars brand come back and watch that card before they do watch Grand Slam. I think Athena does win. It keeps her reign of terror going in the ROH Women's Division.
Absolutely, and I have a. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk about this World Tag Team Championship bout. Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara versus MXM Collection for the ROH World Tag Team Championships. I think we could see a title change. I think MXM Collection could win the belts. I feel like Dustin is going more in towards a singles run to end his career out. He hasn't really been fighting with Sammy much. Plus, I think they're part of the ROH World Trios Championship champions as well. Dustin holds a lot of belts in ROH. If you haven't paid attention, so I'm gonna take MXM Collection to pull up an upset here and win their first ROH title of their tenure.
I am going to disagree. I think, what do they call themselves? Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy. Mm-hmm. I think they retain here. I know they just had a bout with at Hammerstein. Was the final battle or not? Final battle.
Yep, final battle.
Yep. I know they just had that match for the tag team titles against the Righteous. I know they lost, but I just feel that the Righteous are going to somehow get another tag team title shot and dethrone Sammy and Dustin. So I'm going to say that Dustin and Sammy hold on to those tag team titles for at least another show, another big show for the ROH brand.
And then we got Lee Moriarty and Robbie Eagles, ROH Pure Championship. This is a shocker. Robbie Eagles, as far as I understand, he's still a New Japan wrestler. So this will be a fun show to display. I love Lee Moriarty. I love Shane Taylor Promotions. And to me, Lee Moriarty's he's just the king of the pure style, the pure rules. And give me Lee Moriarty to retain his pure championship.
I think we see a title change. I think Robbie Eagles will win this one. He is obviously signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but hey, we could always bring them over and have them fight every now and then. So I think that maybe this could lead to something at Forbidden Door to where Eagles drops a title there. But I'm gonna go with Robbie Eagles, hometown guy or home country guy, and I think he gets the old hometown pop and wins the pure title on Saturday.
That'll be a shocker, in my opinion. That would be fun to watch, and I'd like to see that unexpected. Then our final match of Global Wars that at least I found, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith, the Learning Tree against Bandito and the Outrunners. I got Bandito and the Outrunners winning this, though. I don't know. This feud is the Learning Tree shtick over the last couple of weeks. I've started to turn into, like, it's won me over a little bit. Jericho's not necessarily the forefront, and so that's always a good thing. And they're letting Big Bill and Brian Keith kind of show the type of talent that they have. So I like the direction, the course correction of the learning tree. But the faces got to go out on top here, and so Bandito and the Outrunners get the W.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Keith or Big Bill can take the pin. It's a trios match, so it's not for a title. So I could see Bandito and the Outrunners taking the victory here as well.
And then we get to the main part of the show. Grand Slam, Saturday night, immediately following NBA All-Star coverage, which means like 11 o'clock Eastern time. AEW Grand Slam. 5 matches of really good variety. We'll start with Mercedes Moné and Harley Cameron for the AEW TBS Championship. And Harley Cameron has done everything she's been asked of in this setup for this match, almost to perfection. The promo vignette package that they had for her last night was fantastic. The rap video that she did with the puppet and all of this, she's just really good. In fact, if WWE is looking for a woman to add to their roster, I'm sure as hell thinking they might be looking at Harley Cameron, because she's just good at what she's doing, and she makes wrestling kind of fun to watch, and it's not all super serious all the time. With that being said, Mercedes Moné is a dominant champion, and I might be biased because I was told by Mercedes Moné herself that I was next in line for a TBS championship match. While she was waiting for her plane to take off, she had a Q&A, and she said I was next in line. But so with that being said, no, I'm going. I think Mercedes Moné retains her TBS championship, and then she immediately starts the feud for her next battle, leading into probably Revolution for the TBS belt, with the debut of Australia's own Indy Hartwell. I think she comes out, and she'll be the next in line for the TBS championship in her home country of Australia, coming to the defense of Harley Cameron, with Mercedes Moné's heel tactic that she likes to pull at the end of her matches. But give me Moné to retain.
I think that was absolutely fantastic that you did get a shout out from Miss Moné on the old X Machine. We should call you a bucko or buckaroo.
A bucko.
That was pretty good. That might be the highlight of your career so far, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that's okay. You know what? That's all right. Hey, Kurt Angle was it for me when he answered one of my questions on Facebook, because I mentioned that me and his son Kody had the same spelling, and he answered the question. I was like, "How'd you come up with that?" It's pretty cool. I don't know many people with Kody with a K, and he was like, "Oh, my wife and I just liked it. We named him that." But I'll tell you what. There are moments in wrestling where sometimes you just got to do it. And I'll tell you what. If they pull the trigger and they just let Harley Cameron win this match and win the TBS title in Australia, the freaking pop would be insane. It would be phenomenal. And it would be such a good moment. It really would. It would be kind of like the Acclaim pop against when they beat Keith Lee and Swerve for the tag titles a couple years ago. They should have done it and all out. Yeah, they should have did it there. Acclaim still got a great pop when they won the belt a couple weeks later at Grand Slam. But, man, Tony Khan should have struck the iron when it was hot and do it. That's why almost part of me thinks that maybe he learns a lesson from that and he actually pulls the trigger here because it'd be such a great, great atmosphere. And she can win it on a roll-up. It's not going to cause Monet to lose credibility. Harley could literally lose it 3 days later, 4 days later on Dynamite, and nobody would really care. If they really wanted to extend it out to Revolution, they could do that, but it's not going to lose any credibility from Monet if she lost in a roll-up like this. In Australia, it's just an absolutely monumental moment for Harley Cameron. She has gone from a person who was with the QTV thing, just, the chick that was there that was kind of annoying, but because of her looks, she was on TV. And then we transitioned that to her being with the Outcasts, which is really weird. And then she just kind of was on her own. They didn't really know what to do. But if you're looking for an AEW homegrown talent, Harley Cameron is that, because she was not a wrestler. They brought her in on this, acting type of thing, and because of her looks and whatever. It took us 3 years-ish to kind of get to where we're at now, to where she's in the ring, she's wrestling. Has won one match to her credit, but it's such a jack of all trades from an entertainment perspective. The puppet thing is good. Her doing the music thing was great. The rap caught me off guard. I did not know she could do that. Rapping like Eminem with Rap God, I'll tell you what, that was pretty something. That was something. That was pretty cool. Doing the Chinese thing, it's like, all right, almost what can't you do here? You're like a Swiss Army knife. Pretty interesting. Very entertaining. And like I've said, wrestling needs this comedic relief type of atmosphere to it as well. And she is that. And sometimes you just got to play to those strengths and you just got to run with that. Is anybody going to look at you and say you're the best wrestler in the world, Harley Cameron? More than likely not. And you know what? That's okay, because we have way too many best wrestlers in the world. Give me a great entertainer. Give me a Santino Marella type of thing, an R-Truth type of thing. Harley Cameron fits that mold, and it works, and it's great. But I'll tell you what, it'd be phenomenal if she did win the belt. Have her hold it for a couple weeks, let Monet win it back, and let's just kind of carry on. That would be a great moment. I'm going to say Mercedes is going to win. I'm going to go with that prediction. And, man, I'll tell you, I just...
No, you're right. It would be a really good moment. And you're right. Tony Khan has pulled the trigger on some of these moments past its shelf life at some point. The Acclaimed one was one example. There's been several others that maybe not to that effect, but Tony Khan just kind of, I don't want to say was asleep at the wheel. He just was waiting way too long when the crowd was like, I think the Outrunners should have had a title opportunity by this point. Yep. You could say the Private Party Tag Team Championship run, though it wasn't a great, like they didn't do a whole lot with their Tag Team Championship run, but the fans were over for them for quite a while. And the fact that they had to wait 5 years to get their tag team title opportunities, I felt like there's just some moments where Tony Khan is just asleep at the wheel and doesn't pull the trigger. And if he does it here, like, I'm not going to be upset. I mean, and I don't think it really does any damage to Mercedes Moné because she still has, 4 or 5 other championships to her credit. And so, I just looking down the line, I think it would be a good moment for Harley Cameron. I don't know if Tony Khan will pull the trigger at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll happen. It would, like we both said, it wouldn't hurt Mercedes's character or her championship title reigns, nothing like that. Like I said, you could have Harley win it and lose it 4 days later on Dynamite, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we get Mercedes kind of dominating the match, and then Harley gets a glimmer of hope, and maybe Indy comes out or somebody comes out to kind of distract Mercedes, and Harley gets a quick roll up, or thinking that she's about to win, kicks out, and then maybe finish. Mercedes goes into the bank statement, whatever, and does that submission maneuver, and then Harley wins. Kind of that ultimate, oh my god, oh she did, she almost had it. So we'll see. Very, very in tune with how that match is going to go. I just think that the crowd's actually going to be really hot for that match. Obviously, it's Harley Cameron. She's from Australia. It's a hometown thing. If this was 5 months ago, Harley Cameron's not on this card.
Right. And
the fact of how quickly she has become just this jack of all trades of an entertainer, it's just going to be pretty emotional for her, because I feel the crowd is just going to be so hot for her, and I think she'll be pretty choked up by that. But you know what? Hey, go with it, man. Just go with it. I'm interested to see how that match is going to go. Very, very interested to see how that's going to go.
Absolutely. Let's move on. We got a couple more matches on this card. We'll go with Jay White and Adam Copeland, or Cope, fighting off against the Death Riders in a Brisbane Brawl match. And of all the matches on this card, this might be my least intrigued match. And I love Jay White. I think Cope is doing well. But I just don't know how much longer we can continuously put off Jon Moxley as AEW champion at this point. This gimmick is kind of growing stale. And at this point, he's not even defending the belt, and I get it. The focus is on the women tonight, or on the Saturday night, and on the Continental Championship. But man, I wish they treated the world title with a little bit more dignity and respect, because Moxley doesn't even carry the physical belt. He carries a briefcase with the idea that the belt is in the briefcase. And so I don't know. I'm not really feeling this storyline. It's kind of growing stale on me, and they're not moving at a fast enough pace to keep my attention. With that being said, I do think the Death Riders win. And obviously Cope gets his singles title opportunity at Revolution. But I don't know if that match will happen, because I think Christian Cage might cash in on Saturday. We haven't seen him in a couple weeks. To my knowledge, I think he fought Hook a couple weeks ago, and he just comes in unexpectedly, and we can get a Christian Cage title run, which maybe sets up a Samoa Joe Christian Cage feud for the belt, because ultimately I kind of see Samoa Joe as the guy that could run the heavyweight division, and he's back now. And so I don't know, maybe I'm just wishful thinking here. But yeah, give me the Death Riders to win the Brisbane Brawl, but I don't know if that'll be the entire story of the night.
So I'm not discrediting your prediction, because I think that's a very interesting prediction for sure. I am actually going to go with Cope and Jay White to win this match, solely because I do think that the match between Cope and Moxley for the world title at Revolution will happen, and I don't think Cope will win. So this will be the way to kind of get that one up on the Death Riders, look like they're faltering, look like they're vulnerable, leading into Revolution, and then the Death Riders either add a new member, or they somehow just survive again, and Moxley beats Moxley beats Cope. Now, your thought process with Christian Cage and the world title, again, I would be inclined to believe that, except that I did see a tweet, and it was from AEW's official Twitter. It wasn't, somebody predicting this, but there is a match this upcoming Wednesday. It is a trios match between the Ops, Hook, Shibata, and Joe versus the Patriarchy, Christian, Kip, and Nick Wayne. So Christian will be back on our TV screens Wednesday in a match. It's a trios match. So if he wasn't appeared to be in that, I think I could see that for sure. But because I did see that, I don't think that cash-in will happen. I actually am going to go out on a limb and say that either Jay White turns on Cope after this match, during this match, probably after if I have Cope and Jay White winning, or at Revolution, we do see a turn and Jay White looks like he's about to help Cope and then actually doesn't and joins the Death Riders. What happens with the Bullet Club and Bang Bang Gang and all that, I don't know. But that's kind of how I see possibly. That's my prediction, what I think will happen. So I think we need another member of the Death Riders to kind of give it a little more juice. And I think either it's a master plan with Jay White turning on Cope and joining the Death Riders only to kind of kill them from within, and joins the Death Riders and screws them out of the world title and the trios title, and they lose everything and disband at like All In Texas. That's down the road. But for this match, Cope and Jay White win.
Fair enough. We'll go with the other non-championship match, tag team style. Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita, as part of the Don Callis family, takes on the unforeseen tag team of Will Ospreay and Kenny by God Omega. And if you would have told me, I don't know, 3 months ago that this match would happen, I probably would have laughed in your face, because there was no way in the world I would have ever thought that Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay would have tag teamed together. So Mark Davis, I guess, is part of Don Callis' family against his will, because when Kyle Fletcher, I think the storyline behind it is Don Callis, when he signed Kyle Fletcher to the Don Callis family, he basically Kyle Fletcher signed for Aussie Empire as a team and not just Kyle Fletcher himself. So Mark Davis is part of the team. This whole thing, I love it, and the aspect of it kind of closes the chapter on the story of Omega and the Don Callis family. And because of that, I think Omega and Ospreay get the upper hand and win this match. And then whatever Ospreay and Kenny does afterwards will be apart from Don Callis family. So give me Ospreay and Omega to win this match.
You said Ospreay and Omega?
Yes, sir.
I think that somehow Mark Davis gets involved, and I think maybe he kind of turns on the Callis family in some capacity. I don't, maybe to kind of think that Callis actually had him, and then ends up that he doesn't, and turns on Callis and Takeshita and Fletcher, and it causes Ospreay and Omega to win. I was kind of hesitant to say maybe the hometown guy does get the win, but I think that for context of story here, that we do see Mark Davis kind of turning on the Callis family, and we get Ospreay and Omega to win. So I'm gonna go with the same that you do as well.
Absolutely. We'll go next. We'll try to get through these last two matches quickly. The AEW Continental Championship between Kazuchika Okada, who retained the belt at winning the Continental Classic, fights Aussie homegrown guy Buddy Matthews for the Continental Championship. And where you have you positioned yourself to say the pop for Harley Cameron would be hot, and that there are just moments. And to me, this is where the moment can be made, because Buddy Matthews, and I'm going to go ahead and predict it. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to say it with my chest. Buddy Matthews defeats Kazuchika Okada and wins the Continental Championship, and starts a singles run with the beef of the Hellhounds, I think is what their team name is.
Hounds of Hell.
Hounds of Hell, with Brody King and Julia Hart in his corner. The Elite has been losing belts. The Young Bucks lost their belts. Jack Perry lost his belt. I think now it's the time for Okada to lose his belt in Australia. You get the moment with the Australian crowd with Buddy Matthews, and he gets the AEW Continental Championship.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think that this has been building towards we get a big pop in the championship, changing hands here. And I do think that Buddy Matthews will take the belt off of Okada. He's had the belt for about a year. I don't think he's really done much with it, to be quite honest with you. But maybe this will kind of help that belt get a little bit more time on TV and get a workhorse with Buddy Matthews, and a great pop in Australia would be a great thing for him. And I think it's a way for Tony Khan to kind of show that. I don't want to say that Malachi was holding back the Brody King and Buddy Matthews at all, but I think it's Tony Khan's way of trying to see how Buddy Matthews does as a singles competitor with a singles championship. He's had a couple of trios titles with Malachi and Buddy and Brody. It's an opportunity to kind of showcase what he can do as a singles competitor in a singles run with a singles championship, and I think it's going to be a great win for him, obviously in Australia against one of the top wrestlers in the world with Okada. Okada doesn't need this belt. He needs to move on to something a little bit bigger and be presented as a bigger star on AEW television. Great way for this to happen. A great moment in Australia. Give it to the Australian. Let him see what he can do with this Continental Championship, and let Okada hopefully move on to bigger and better pastures in either TNT International or possibly the world title scene down the road. Obviously, where I think we're going to lead to somehow getting Okada and Omega at All in Texas. Don't know how that's going to shape out over the next 4 or 5 months. If it's going to be for any title, if it's just going to be a big showcase match on the card. But yeah, I'm going to go with Buddy Matthews as well. And I think it's going to be a hell of a match.
Absolutely.
Possibly match of the night. I'm excited for all 5 of these matches. I think all these matches are going to be great. But I will circle this as match of the night for sure.
Yeah, I'm not. There's a couple that I think could be match of the night, and one of them is what I presume to be the main event. The AEW Women's World Championship match between Mariah May and Timeless Toni Storm. I have to assume that this is the main event. This is the biggest match on the card. It's for the Women's World Championship. And this story, it progressed faster than I thought it would, but I think the way that it progressed with Toni Storm becoming timeless again, they just have excelled at this storyline. Toni Storm, as I said last week on the show, is the best character in the women's division of any women's division in the world at this moment. Mariah May is just a fantabulous champion. I saw a tweet 2 or 3 days ago when Ricky Stark showed up that they said Mariah May would be the next to jump ship. I don't think so. I think Mariah May is at Team AEW for some time. But she's just a great champion, and this story is just going to be fantastic to tell. And I want to put the belt back on Toni Storm. I really do, but all inclination leads that this is going to be a longer feud than just a one match thing for Toni Storm to get her belt back. And so in this moment, in front of her hometown fans and her hometown people, Toni Storm ends up taking the loss, and Mariah May retains this time. I think long-term story ends up, we'll probably get another title change at, I'm going to say, Double or Nothing. I think we probably get 2 or 3 more matches after this match on Saturday, and Toni Storm just has to fight all of the adversity that Mariah May will throw her way, and will probably be victorious at Double or Nothing, though it could happen in a couple weeks at Revolution as well. Would make a lot of sense for Toni Storm, now that I think about it, to win it at Revolution, because she's like a movie character and Revolution's in LA. So with that being said, give me Mariah May to win here on Saturday.
I thought we would get a rematch for these two. I did not think it would be at this time, but I'm not mad about it because I feel they have really done a great job at the second act of this feud, with Toni Storm doing, the whole rookie thing, and then meeting Mariah in the ring at Homecoming in Jacksonville on Collision a couple weeks ago, and gets beaten the hell out of by Mariah May, transitions back into Timeless, portrays Mariah May and plays Mariah May in a match against Queen Aminata maybe a week or two later on Dynamite, drove Mariah May crazy. And Mariah's, I don't want to say she's scared of Timeless Toni Storm because she thought she killed her, or she's just annoyed the fact that she's back when she thought she did kill her. But I'm gonna go with Toni Storm. I think she's gonna win the world title again. Mariah won it in her home country of England at All In. Toni wins it in her home country or neighboring country. I think Toni actually might be from New Zealand, but
right.
No, she's from Australia. They bill her from Australia, but I think Toni Storm wins it, and we're gonna have to have a trilogy. We're gonna have to have that third and final act, whether it's at Revolution, whether it's at Double or Nothing, unless they do it again at All in Texas, kind of the middle ground where which is kind of crazy that both of these matches will take place on international soil. Obviously, All in London and Wembley Stadium last summer, and now in Australia. Maybe the third match happens at All in Texas or Double or Nothing, somewhere that's on U.S. soil, to where it's kind of a neutral playing field, I guess. But I'm going to go with Toni Storm to regain the Women's World title. I don't think these two are done feuding at all. I don't know if they're going to quickly give it a third and final act at Revolution or Double or Nothing, or maybe prolong it a little bit down the road. If you really, really want to try to push this out as far as you can without them intertwining again for a while, right? Mariah off of TV for a little bit, and then slowly infiltrate her back into trying to screw with Toni Storm and maybe trying to quote unquote kill Toni Storm, and have it do it at what Tony Khan loves to do with some of these and portrays into the naming of the pay-per-views. Do it at World's End, End of the Feud, third and final trilogy. Could do that. I don't think it'll go that far. That's all the way at the end of December. But I think Toni wins. I'm going to be very interested to see where they go from this after for both characters. What's next for Mariah? No matter if she wins or loses. What's next for Toni Storm, win or lose? But yeah, this is going to be the main event. This is going to be a hell of a way to close the show. Crowd's going to be on fire for this one as well. I think we're going to have an amazingly hot crowd on Saturday. And I think that they're going to save their best for last. And I think this will be the main event, and it's going to be a pretty big brawl, I think, to close the show in grand style. Very much looking forward to this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait for Saturday, though. I'll be honest. This might be a Sunday watch for me before the Daytona 500. because of depending on how late it comes on. I don't know if I'll be able to watch it in its entirety when they show it the first time through. But it's going to be a really good show on Saturday. For all of our frustrations and all of our complaints for how they kind of failed to advertise this show, I think they made up for it with as good as a card as they put on. The crowd's going to be hot. It's going to be a really good special moment. And I don't think a lot of spoilers will leak. And the reason I say that is because AEW is pretty good at keeping some of that stuff under wraps. Obviously, you're going to have people that try and spoil it. But just like with Dynamite last night, I didn't see a whole lot of spoilers, and they taped it the night before. So I think it'll be a good show. And I'm excited to see where it goes and how and what comes out of it. As we close tonight, any last words, my friend?
If anybody is in the crowd in Australia, have a great time. Don't spoil the show. Try to stay off of social media Saturday until you either watch it or Sunday morning. Forecast does not look very good for Sunday for the 500, but fingers crossed we do get the race in. But yeah, it's going to be a good show, and it's going to be interesting to see how they come out of this. And then we lead the charge for about a month to Revolution. It's going to be interesting to see how the fallout from this pay-per-view happens and the road that we lead to getting to LA for Revolution.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, listening to us. We'll be back next week, kind of breaking down some of the next current events in pro wrestling. We didn't even get to the WWE releases that that happened earlier this week as well. Maybe we'll gander at that next week, maybe if I remember. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in, listening to us just talk about pro wrestling. Hope you guys enjoy the wrestling that we get this weekend. WWE with NXT Vengeance Day and on AEW for Saturday night. And until next time, we'll see you next Thursday on the show, and we'll end it the way we always end it. K-Dog, take us out.
Happy Valentine's Day for all those that celebrate. If you ever want to get flowers delivered early, go to 1-800-Flowers.com. They're ridiculous. You can pay for extra for shipping to get it delivered on Valentine's Day, and they will screw you over with that. And the best they can do is apologize. Regardless of that, not from personal experience or nothing. Might be the last time I ordered something from them for Valentine's Day. But anyways, happy Valentine's Day for those who celebrate, and enjoy the wrestling this weekend. Enjoy the sports. But as always, especially tomorrow for Valentine's Day, stay saucy, friends.
Beyond the